There is outrage in a West Side neighborhood tonight after a sexual predator moved in, listing a tent in a backyard as his residence. Doesn't sound like that would be legal, but as Local 12's Anjanette Levy discovered, it is. She joins us live in West Price Hill with a story you'll see only here. Anjanette?
Well, Rob, neighbors received this notification from the sheriff's office earlier this week. In it, it said that a sexual predator had moved into the abandoned house behind me and was living in a tent in the backyard.
The grass and trees are overgrown at 4314 West 8th Street. The windows boarded up. And according to the sex offender registry, child sexual predator Martin Lane lives here in a tent in the backyard.
It's kind of amazing to find out that somebody was actually living in a tent that was registered as living in a tent in an abandoned home in West Price Hill.
Jim Kiefer lives nearby. We checked out the backyard where Martin claimed he was living. We didn't find a tent, just dirty old mattresses. Tanya Villardo and her children live next door. She's seen the so-called tent man in the neighborhood.
My first question is how can you register in a tent? How does Ohio let you register in a tent?
Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Margot Murgy says the answer is simple.
Per state law, we are unable to refuse any address that's given by an offender, regardless of where the location is.
Deputy Murgy says the sheriff's office has had to accept a variety of locations as addresses from homeless sex offenders, including the courthouse steps, park benches at Washington Park, and even under bridges. She registered Martin Lane.
When he came in to register that location, he did indicate to us that it was going to be a temporary stay. So we knew eventually he was going to be moving out of there.
Back on West 8th, some neighbors don't believe the tent man was living where he said he was, and they're worried about the children.
Your kid's your biggest concern in your life. That's what you thrive for every day is your child.
I wouldn't trust my children out here if I knew there was a sexual predator, especially a child sexual predator.
Now, the sheriff's office actually has deputies that go out and they check on these sex offenders. And after receiving some complaints for the public, the deputies came here yesterday. They did not find Martin Lane, but they did leave a note for him. And today he actually called the sheriff's office and informed the deputies that he would be moving next week. But these neighbors are very frustrated still. They believe there should be some better tracking of sex offenders, maybe using microchips or something like that. They also believe there should be a state law change that would allow the sheriff's office to give greater scrutiny to these addresses that are given. Reporting live in West Price Hill, Anjanette Levy, Local 12 News. Rob?
So the deal is you can put any address you want, like this tent in the backyard, but you have to be there, right?
Correct. I mean, they would certainly have to be in compliance with that address. So if the deputies go looking for them at any address or their parole or probation officer go to look for them, of course they would have to be there, or that would likely be some type of violation and they could be arrested.
Anjanette, thanks very much. The sheriff's office tells us out of the county's 1,400 sex offenders, 50 are homeless. If you'd like to see what sex offenders are living in your neighborhood, log on to local12.com. Click on the red Get It button.